Like call meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kokenauer?
Here.
Mr. Harshman?
Here.
Mr. Lake?
Here.
Mr. Martray?
Here.
Mr. Martucci?
Here.
Mr. Mondial? Mr. Menzi? Mrs. Sangston? Mr. Pinto?
Here. Stand for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need a motion for the minutes of the previous meeting?
So moved.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for the treasurer's report?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for the payment of the general and federal fund bills?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for the payment of the cafeteria fund bills?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll have public comment for agenda items. Jigs Hatfield, Collinsville, Greater Collinsville Wrestling Club. Just remind everybody, you have 3 minutes, please.
Good evening. 3 months ago, I stood here on behalf of the Greater Collinsville Wrestling Club to ask the board for more room for the wrestlers to practice. After countless hours and meetings with club members, alumni, parents, business owners, and the school board, we came to the conclusion that adding a room onto the auxiliary gym would be the best way to proceed, without interrupting any other sports, programs, or taking away any classrooms. We feel we got the right people involved to get this project done with no cost to taxpayers or school board. We feel this is long overdue for the wrestling program, and we are pleased that we can accomplish this goal together. Currently, the high school, the junior high, and the Collinsville youth programs are all having a successful season. and the future is looking very bright for Conzo Wrestling. Having the proper facilities will aid the progress and better training and hopefully keep more kids in the system. This is a win-win and golden opportunity for the school, wrestlers, and school board. So we hope you do the right thing and vote yes to pass this project. And we thank you for your time and everything you do.
Thank you, Jake. That's all we have for agenda items. Moving to athletics, Mr. Renton.
Thank you, Mr. Manzella. Request approval to hire Lindsay Elsener, varsity assistant swimming diving coach, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to award bids for spring sports supplies and equipment to the lowest possible responsible bidder meeting specifications, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the 2023-2024 fall supplemental athletic contracts pending solicitor review as attached, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following volunteers: Justin Haynes, varsity and middle school wrestling coach; Mark Kane, middle school wrestling coach; Tiffany Powell, Jerry Powell, girls wrestling coaches, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We had an athletic meeting held on January 3rd, 2023. That's all I have. Anything else, Mr. Martucci?
No, sir.
Mr. Evans? That's all we have, Mr. Pansell. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi. Moving to buildings and grounds, Mr. Layton.
Thank you, Mr. Panzel. 10A is Plum Contracting, request approval of Plum Contracting Incorporated, Pittsburgh, PA, to utilize the Falcon Stadium property for staging purposes for equipment and material in exchange for a donation of materials to the Conzo Area School District. And I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request a conditional approval contingent upon successful submission of screening and background checks approval of the following additions to the custodian substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year: Dominic Frigoletti, O.K. DeWitt, Wayne Messner, Michael Bauer, Paul Prinky, Jamie Converso, Ross Miner, Jamie Rogan, Thomas Clark, Vito J.C. Martucci, Joshua Henry, and Annie Yancey Cesario, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to appoint Mick Lilly as maintenance personnel effective January 26, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions? Mike Lilly, correct?
Mike, what did I say? I said Mike, didn't I? Oh, I'm sorry, it's Mike.
All right.
Not Michael, but it says Mike. I said Nick, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Thank you. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have a roll call.
Mr. Kokenauer?
Yes.
Mr. Hirschman?
Yes.
Mr. Lake?
Yes.
Mr. Mortrey?
No.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Mr. Montiel?
Yes.
Mr. Renzi?
Yes.
And Mr. Panzel?
Yes.
And the reason for my voting no is being consistent with it. I've always said you post a position to make it across the line. That's the reason I'm voting no.
10D, request approval to hire Doug Lilly as a 4-hour custodian effective January 26, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next one will be 10E. I have to take my glasses off for this one. To approve the addition and expansion project for the additional athletic space, the wrestling room, to authorize the Greater Connersville Wrestling Club for the use of the vacant, unapproved portion of the district property next to the high school upon the full and complete observance, adherence, and satisfaction of such subsequent conditions and steps as are agreeable between the district and the Greater Conzo Wrestling Club. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Roll call.
Mr. Hirschman?
Yes.
Mr. Lake?
Yes.
Mr. Martre?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Mr. Montiel?
Yes.
Mr. Renzi?
Yes.
Mr. Kokenauer?
No.
And Mr. Panzera?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And Mr. Wood, would you like to give a little explanation now, or do you want me to wait till I'm done?
No, I can explain. So this motion had changed substantially from the initial agenda meeting, work session meeting earlier this week, and now the purpose of this motion and all the items that were listed on the prior agenda, they were placeholder items. So if there's ever a project that's of any substantial scope that the district would ever undertake, those are typically all of the steps that we require for any large-scale project. Without knowing all of the details and without having discussed it more fully with the wrestling folks, those were placed on the agenda as a placeholder. Now, after some discussion and a better understanding of what exactly the contours and parameters of the project will be, many of those requirements will no longer be applicable, which is why we modified the language as it was approved this evening to not specifically address or require all of those items that were previously announced. Any questions from board members on it?
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next we have facilities utilization in accordance with policy 707. It's request approval of the following event and building use requests. With no objections, I'd like 1 through 14 spread on the minutes, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all we have. Mr. Kokenauer, you have anything to add? Mr. Martucci?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kirsch? That's all we have, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lake. Moving to Carnegie Free Library, Mr. Montiel.
Thank you. We have no motions on for this one. Mr. Martre, do you have anything? That's all we have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Montiel. Moving to Collinsville Area Career and Technical Center, Mr. Kokenauer.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval to accept the community foundation Fayette County grant in the amount of $5,343, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
12B, request approval to purchase an Escalipus TBK 84-3D dissection table through the CTC ARP ESSR grant for $61,480 plus shipping and handling to be determined from account number 13/7/2/990/39-85/00, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, and, like, nothing, Mr. Jan. That's all we have, Mr. Panzella, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kokenauer.
Mr. Panzella,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to have the floor for 1 second under the Career and Technical Center items. I would just like to thank Mr. DeCenna and Mrs. Dahl at the Career and Technical Center, and Mr. Rosensteel at the Career and Technical Center. They prepared lunches for the Intermediate Unit 1 Superintendent's monthly meeting this month. Mrs. Dahl took students to the IU. They presented to the IU superintendents what the meal was, what the preparation was, how they brought it, and 2 protective service students also accompanied them to bring in the items, and it was really a collaborative effort. And I want to thank those students and thank their instructors and Mrs. Dahl for making that all happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to hear. We'll be moving to curriculum. Mr. Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. 13A, comprehensive planning. Request approval of the 2023-2026 comprehensive plan, professional development plan, Act 48, gifted education assurances, Chapter 16, and induction plan, Chapter 49. And I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 13B, CAMS course selection. Request approval of the Connellsville area middle school course description for the 2023-2024 school year. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 13C, ELA series. Request approval to solicit bids for the K through 12 ELA series. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 13D, travel, in accordance with policy number 431. Request approval of the following professional employees' travel. Amy Witt, senior high teacher, to attend the GEMS Cyber Program, University of Pittsburgh, February 8th and February 9th, 2023, at an approximate cost of $430 for 2 subs in travel, to be paid from 10-110-500-580-39-80-00. Aaron Ostosky, senior high teacher, to attend virtually the AP Pre-Calculus APSI workshop June 20th through June 23rd, 2023, at a cost of $650 for registration, to be paid from Title II funds. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 13E, curriculum committee meeting. Committee meeting was held January 13th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. That's all I have. Mr. Renzi. Mr. Mongel.
Nothing, thank you.
Dr. Koontz.
I actually would like to remind everyone that kindergarten registration will be the week of March 6th. You could call the school building that you are going to register to make an appointment for registration. Thank you.
Okay, that's all we have. Hands on it.
Thank you, Mr. Harshman. Moving to cyber, Mr. Martret.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. We have nothing this evening. Mr. Kokenar, do you have anything? Mr. Mongeau? Mr. Ghost? That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Martret. Moving to federal programs, Mr. Mongel.
Thank you. We have one item. Requested approval for Tracy Coons and Joyce Kamala to attend the 55th Annual Pennsylvania Association of Federal Programs Conference at the Kalahari Resort, Pocono Manor in Pennsylvania, April 16th through the 19th, at an approximate cost of $2,700 to be paid from federal funds, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Martucci, do you have anything? Yes, sir. Mr. Martret? That's all we have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mongel. Moving to finance, Mr. Renzi.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval of the following donations as presented, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the accelerated budget opt-out resolution certifying tax rate within inflation index for the 2022-2024 school year as proposed, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Roll call.
Mr. Lake?
Yes.
Mr. Martret?
No.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Mr. Mongel?
Yes.
Mr. Renzi?
Yes.
Mr. Kokenauer?
Yes.
Mr. Harshman?
Yes.
And Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
A question on that. On the index,
Now?
and what percentage is that? 5.9. Okay, and we have inflation down there too. Are we basing on the inflation, or are we going to base that on that 5.9%? How does that fit in with our?
So that index is
as set by the state. There's a base index, which is 4.1, and then adjusted Aquifer index for Connellsville is 5.9. So that we done in the calculation when we.
That's going to affect the
Yeah,
tax.
But this
tax
opt-out, it basically is stating that you will not increase taxes above that index.
Right, right.
If you wanted to, it would have to go to voter referendum. So this is the guidelines, we have to meet this and pass this opt-out resolution, or we would have to go to a voter referendum to
So we don't
raise
have any
taxes
figures
above
right
that.
now.
I don't have any figures right now because the budget hasn't been, done.
Press approval of the tax requisitions orders and to authorize district business office to process purchase orders and payments, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Anything to add, Mr. Lake?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Hoppertsman?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi. Moving to food service, Mr. Kokenauer.
17A, this request additional approval contingent upon successful submission of screening and background checks approval for the following additions to the substitute cafeteria list for 2022-2023 school year. Cheryl McClellan, Gloria Rugg, and Amber Fisher, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Manzella. Mr. Mortrey?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Whitnall? That's all we have, Mr. Manzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kokenauer. Moving to personnel and review and liaison, Mr. Latham.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request the conditional approval contingent upon successful submission of screening and background checks approval of the following additions to the professional substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year. Kaylin O'Wade, emergency, and Gracie Daly, nurse. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Molly Gibson, teacher, to take an unpaid leave of absence for the second semester of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The following sabbatical leave is confirmed by the board. Melanie Mickey, teacher, second semester, 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The following Family and Medical Leave Act leaves are confirmed by the board. Jill Basinger, cafeteria worker, January 17, 2023, until or about February 28, 2023, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of Sonia Bentley, support personnel, to take up to 10 intermittent unpaid days as requested for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the retirement of James Domer, custodian, effective January 20, 2023, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Mary Hickson, support personnel, effective December the 12th, 2022, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Lisa Donaldson, support personnel, effective December the 30th, 2022, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Tammy Steele, cafeteria worker, contingent upon being hired as a 4-hour custodian, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Tammy Steele as a 4-hour custodian, effective February the 6th, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Seth Blasevich as long-term substitute teacher for the Special Education for the 2022-2023 school year effective December the 19th, 2022, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Taylor Mathers as long-term substitute teacher for special education for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year effective January the 9th, 2023, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Caitlin Smith as a long-term substitute teacher for Title I for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year effective January the 4th, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Carrie Detweiler, nurse, with final date of employment to be March the 13th, 2023, per Act 14 of the Pennsylvania Code, or unless released prior to March the 13th, pending appropriate replacement and transition with replacement as approved by the superintendent, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval from Margaret Rockwell, ESP Regional Officer at Large, for release time with cost to be reimbursed by the PSEA as follows. March the 10th, 2023, half day. April the 26th, 2023, half day. And April 27th to 28th, 2023, 2 days. And I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Lynn Ann Helms as a long-term substitute teacher for the 4th grade of Dunbar Township effective November the 4th, 2022 for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Rachel Williams as a personal student aide effective January 25th, 2023, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Allison Wolf as a personal student aide effective January 25th, 2023, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Joseph Poirier as a volunteer with the JROTC program for January and February 2023, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to post and advertise for the heating, ventilation, air conditioning, HVAC position for the Buildings and Grounds Maintenance Department, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire David Keita as Technology Support Specialist, staff devices at a salary of $40,000 in accordance with the Technology Department Employment Policy effective upon release of employment, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the retirement of Tammy Nelson, cafeteria worker, effective February the 8th, 2023, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I have two additional ones here. Should I ask the questions, Mr. Widow? These were on. What is it? Since I'm adding these, I'll go ahead and read them. Okay. 18W is to amend the agenda for consideration of a motion to retain Dylan McCandless King, and is that Coveter Graham LLP as special counsel for the collection bargaining negotiation, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. These are additions. Any questions? We need to see if there's any comments. Vote on it first, okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And 18X is to approve and retain Dylan McCandless King and Kohler and Graham LLP as special counsel for collective bargaining negotiation and to approve the signing of such engagement letter. And I so move.
Motion is second. No, this is an addition. Is there any comment or questions? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Renzi, do you have anything to add? Mr. Harshman?
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Coconut? Dr. Bradley?
Nothing, thank you, Mr. Lake.
That's all we have, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Lee. Moving to policy and legislative, Mr. Martret.
Thank you, Mr. Panzel. We have nothing this evening. Mr. Montiel, do you have anything? Nothing, thank you. Mr. Marshall?
Nothing, thank you.
Dr. Bradley? Nothing. That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Martret. Moving to safety and security, Mr. Martucci.
Thank you, Mr. Panzel. We have no agenda items at this time. Mr. Renzi, you got anything to add? Mr. Coconut? Mr. Parlay? That's all, Mr. Panzel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martucci. Sticking with you with special education, please.
Thank you again. Request approval for extended school year on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, June 26th through July 27th, 2023. Prep day for teachers and special education support professionals on June 27th, 2023, 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. as follows. Students, 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Teachers, 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Special education support professionals, 7:45 a.m. to 12:45 p.m. I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request for the Collinsville Area School District Special Education Department to accept a comprehensive supports grant for patent for up to $50,000. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all I have at this time. Mr. Lake.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. D'Amico.
Nothing, thank you.
That's all, Mr. Panzel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martucci. Moving to student services, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Item 22A, Top Dog Therapy. Request approval to utilize Top Dog Therapy volunteer services as needed. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 22B, musical staff approval. Request approval of the following additions for the 2022-2023 CAHS musical production staff for 4 performances, not to exceed the budget of $50,000, conditioned upon obtaining necessary performance licensing and to authorize such persons to serve in an uncompensated volunteer capacity until such necessary performance licensing is obtained. Item B, upon the ability to hold, proceed, and conduct extracurricular activities under state orders. Such agreement appointments to be subject to early termination based on supplemental state orders. Stipends shall be prorated based on work performed. Following names are to TBD on the October 26, 2022 voting meeting. And I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and I guess this should have went with it. Production coordinator, publicity, Ethan Keating. Magician, Marcia Brady. Musician, Dana Schultz. Musician, Jamie Gore. Don Stoner, Chris Hornick, Sean Davis, Harley Daly, Reagan Daly, Laura Green, and Bill Manfredi. And that goes with the other motion. Item 22C, supplemental amendment. Request to approve the amendment to the stage lighting supplemental contract to co-stage lighting with the original salary to be shared evenly for the 2022-2023 school year. And I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 22D, supplemental. Request approval of the following supplemental contracts for the 2022-2023 school year, contingent upon a receipt of a signed contract no later than 1 month after issuance, including the posting if contingency is not met. Co-stage lighting, John Hammond. Co-stage lighting, Cody Swing. And I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 22E, I'd like to spread those 1 through 28, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have.
All right, Mr. Harshman, sticking with you with technology.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. I have nothing. Mr. Martucci?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martray?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Gaza?
Thank you.
We have nothing, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harshman. Moving to transportation, Mr. Kokenauer.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval of the following updates, additions to the bus van driver list for the 2022-2023 school year. Mark Morgan, Linda Wheatley, D.A. Nelson Bus Lines, Shane Bronco, Warren Brown, Elizabeth Lesney, E.W. Colburn, and I so move. Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Panzella. Mr. Lee? Nothing, thank you. Mr. Redzi? Mr. Evans? That's all, thank you. That's all we have. Thank you, Mr. Panzella.
Thank you, Mr. Kokenauer. Moving to the President's report. Request approval to nominate Paul Harshman to stand for election, appointment to the Intermediate Unit 1 Board of Directors beginning July 1st, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you. I'm glad to serve again on the IU board. Thanks for everybody for supporting me in that position.
Thank you for good representation there for the Collinsville School District. Moving to the February board meeting location, request approval to conduct the February 13th, 2023 work session in room 121 at the senior high school, and the February 15th, 2023 voting meeting at the Collinsville Area Career and Technical Center, and to instruct the board secretary to advertise said meetings, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move to public comment for non-agenda items. We have Lori Sleesman, parent on a security matter.
Hi, thank you for this. I'm having issues with my grandson as far as bullying and being protected in the school. I was told by the principal and the security guards that they do not have time to put the children through the metal detector test every day. Their explanation was they got over 900 kids. They do not have time. Now, this bully has been fought with my grandson 4 times in the school, okay? They suspended my grandson on 2 occasions. I was fined $212 for him fighting this bully. To me, 1 time, okay. 2nd time, you might want to be a little bit more precautious knowing this was going on. They should have took the students, knowing the 2 individuals, watched them walk from class to class to prevent this. Well, they did not do this. They made smart comments saying that I should get my credentials and sit in the chair if I had time. Me, as a mother, as a grandmother, as an aunt, I would gladly sit there and take the time to put every single student through the metal detectors on a daily basis. And because this was not done on a daily basis, my grandson fought with me one morning. He did not want to go to school. He was already fined, already fought this kid. This would have been the 5th time fighting the same student. That morning, that student went to school with 2 buck knives and a hit list. The boy got in school, bragged about it, and finally somebody told. They walked that student back through the metal detector test. Lo and behold, were the 2 buck knives and the hit list. My grandson was number 1. if I would have sent my grandson to school that morning, we would have a different situation. Instead of talking about walking through a metal detector test. I feel that if they take the time to put kids through the metal detector test every single day and take that time, we would learn a lot about our students, the ones that would try to smuggle things in, and check into a little bit more of their media, social stuff that they do post through Snapchat, through Xbox, through phones. My grandson, it is still going on. They did expel that one. Now he has friends going after my grandson. I pulled him out of school because the schools wouldn't do anything. If he don't come to them, there's nothing they can do. I thought the motto was you tell a parent, you tell anybody. I personally came to the school myself, gave 5 names, and made the school aware of the situation. And they were very smart. We had a meeting over this. Mr. Brooks was kicked out of the meeting because he was very vulgar to me.
At this point, you're getting into personnel issues, and I appreciate the public comments.
But it goes along with the bullying.
When you talk about individual employees of the district.
Okay, I'm
personnel
sorry.
issue,
But at that meeting,
and you've also exhausted your time limit.
okay, I'm sorry.
But I will, it's a public comment. However, we constantly review our processes and policies. And the process of entering each building is reviewed by our security department constantly. And it also has to do with, students being in elements and coming into the building. So, I mean, we look for safety and security and health and welfare. So, I appreciate your comments, and they're taken to heart, and we thank you for those comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all in non-agenda items. Assistant to the superintendent. Dr. Brad.
I wanted to also congratulate Mr. Harshman, and for those of us that know and those of us that don't know, Mr. Harshman serves as the treasurer for over 30 school districts that are represented by the intermediate unit. And it's a lofty task to endeavor with those amount of districts and representation of the services that the IU provides for those 30 school districts. So thank you again, Mr. Harshman. Congratulations. On behalf of our over 4,000 students and 500 employees, in recognition of School Board Appreciation Month, it's my honor to present each board member with these small examples of our student work. This student work was created by Mr. Anderson and his students in our very own high school Fab Lab, in which what each board member will receive is a pen and paper holder that was made in the Fab Lab, and they're really nice, and it's a great example of what this board endeavors to invest in the student body. So I am honored to present these to the board, and each board member has one. Thank you, and thank you for your service, each board member, during Board Appreciation Month. Thank you.
Dr. Brad. Mr. Martrek? Didn't forget this time.
Mr. Domer, for all his years of service to the district, wish him the very best on his retirement. Thank you, Mr. Manzel.
Martrek. That's all we have. Motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned.